Hey kids, it's that fun time again.
Double the Fist was a television series that ran in 2004 with the intention of showing us, the audience, how to live life to the extreme, rise above the norm, and become what some would call fist-worthy. Now you might be wondering why Australia, one of the most stereotypically manly countries in the world, would possibly need a TV series to show them the way. Well, for that we can blame years of unnecessary video game censorship, various political upsets, and years without nutritional Yowie chocolates. The slovenly weak public needed help, and screaming to the rescue came Double the Fist. It also sounds like it should be the name of a pornographic film. Let's establish that now so we can move on.
You don't give yourself fist. That's my job.
I'm sorry, that was rude of me. Whatever dilemma facing the Australian public, whether gambling addiction, vegetarianism, jumping off a cliff, or being a small child, the fine men and occasionally women of the Fist team had a solution. Leading them was none other than local legend Steve Fox, also known in folklore as he who likely shredded his vocal cords making this show. Backing him up were his younger brother Rod and the lovable lump known as the Womp, who always struck me as less of an extreme lifestyle enthusiast and more that one kid on the playground who would do anything to impress his friends. And then we have my personal favourite character, a kooky former security guard named Mephisto. We should leave.
Now, as you know, most fist-worthy DVDs have special features.
Yeah, we actually talked about this in a previous video if you just want to click it.
But this isn't a DVD.
Yes, it is though. It's kind of like having a self-help book selling you on the power of fist. So what is it exactly? The way of the fist is to crush weakness. In simple terms, there is no easy way to do anything. Except talk loudly, or injure someone from a distance, or deliver a message in a dangerous location, or eating. You're just a bunch of hypocrites, aren't you? Whatever the reason, a real show of guts would earn someone the full fist. This was no place for subtlety or nuance. If a problem couldn't be solved with a swift punch to the face or high explosives, running it down with a car was the only alternative. For example, making a cake for your friends. Soon you two can attempt flight with just a homemade flying fox suit and a garden variety hand grenade. Though you probably shouldn't. What I like is that there's usually some kind of twisted logic behind their antics. Want to save the environment? Well, protesting isn't doing the trick. Better go in and kill the logging crews yourself. Coincidentally, the same way we deal with our politics. Feel free to take notes. Or, hey, golf's a pretty slow sport, how can we speed it up? I love this whole episode dealing with sports. It just gets kind of... well, look at it. The footage speaks for itself.
No. No. If there was ever a need for context, I think we're looking at it right now. Oh!
First rule of Double the Fist. If you can't figure out how to end a scene, just have someone getting hurt. Oh, second rule is that a hokey special effect is always necessary. Just about every fist-worthy stunt in the series can be attributed to Mephisto sitting at his computer, meaning that CGI might just be the very backbone of Fist. which I suppose would be the Knuckles. Or maybe the Trapezoid or the Capitate. And it's not just reserved for making the impossible possible.
See this barbecue? Special effect.
You might say it looks fake, I say it looks like double the fist. Oh, that was the punchline. That was the punchline! I didn't even think of that. Oh.
Now, you do realise you're supposed to be preventing this kind of thing?
Look, Steve, I'm chopping one tree down to save many.
That's a pretty interesting idea. I just have one quick question, if you don't mind me asking. Who the f*** are you? Yes, this is Tina T, who stepped in to replace Mephisto after he was injured on the job. What's really interesting about her is that she's a woman. Her first appearance has Steve challenging the Australian education system to see if the students can outdo his gang of uneducated thugs in tests of literacy, science, and mathematics. He's building up to something. Wait for it! Here it comes! As you can probably tell by this point, the show runs on a lot of black comedy, which is often the best kind. Now the thing is that, a lot of the time, I'm seeing the black part, just not a whole lot of a comedy.
It's just Mephisto, I think. He's, I just think any second he's gonna snap and start hitting some of us.
He's justifiably scared for his life. And then he dies! It's funny. Really, anytime the Fist team interact with regular people, the results can get pretty uncomfortable.
Well, frankly, I think it's disgusting. A clone of a popular character shows up and suddenly I'm ousted off the show. No apology, nothing.
Oh, that's a shame. I feel bad for you.
One big exception to this would be Fist Makeover, where 3 people actually volunteered to let the team teach them their ways. You asked for this, old woman! Despite the fact that his training would probably equate to mental and physical torture, there's a real sense of kinship between Rod and its protege Edith. It's sweet to watch in its own messed up way. And that's pretty much the nicest thing you'll ever hear me say about Rod. And Edith was only one of many transformed by this in-universe TV phenomenon. After 8 weakness-crushing episodes, the series came to a head in episode 7. Chronologically speaking, for their final task, the Fist team put their differences aside and brought us stability during the War on Terror. It just goes to show you how miserably weak the world really is when we can't even bring ourselves to name a miserable 24 hours after a man who gave his life to save it. In 2008, Double the Fist was back to tackle 4 years of weakness. Now is the time for the show to make its ultimate impact, to pull out all the stops and triple the insanity of the first season and accidentally alienate the fans by completely changing the format. Oh, hold on. One of us is a bad thing. Let me preface this by saying that Series 2 is a glorious beast of a show that must be seen to be believed. It just happens that unlike Series 1, it's now a story-heavy comedy adventure instead of a mockumentary. It's sort of like when an internet critic forces a storyline into their review and it becomes a Z-grade movie for a few minutes. That's not what we came to see. Just annoying. Here's the deal. After returning to Earth, Steve creates his ultimate weakness-busting weapon, Fist Furniture, bringing the Fist into the home of the spineless masses. A stroke of brilliance, if not for one problem. Derek Landy, you are unappreciated in your time. Fist furniture tanks hard, but not as hard as Steve hits the bottle. And it's here as he stumbles miserably into the woods that the facade finally falls apart. Stephen Foxy is, and always has been, the weakest of all weak dogs. What a big, strong man, threatening people from the safety of a camera. Anytime something truly dangerous rears its head, Steve is sitting comfortably on the sidelines while Rod, Womp and Mephisto get themselves killed. Oh, obviously he can throw a punch. So long as it's aimed at someone who can't take a hit.
Special effect.
I want you to take a nice long look in the mirror and tell me if you're proud of what you see. Calm down, calm down. Okay, you're not a dog, you're not a dog. You're a baby throwing a temper tantrum.
After calmly re-evaluating his priorities, Steve reaches an epiphany and decides that the only way to deal with weakness is by force, and in doing so, relinquishes all weakness from his body. Except he doesn't. He might actually be worse, he just gets angrier. Yes, this guy manages to get angrier. So what is Steve's new plan? Well, it starts with a magical weapon called the Time Saw, and ends with an M. Bison joke. The Fist team are the bad guys now, and here's my problem with that. As we've seen, pretty much the only reason why the Fist team were the good guys to begin with is because the show says they are. They think they're helping. Now there's no two ways about it. They're just horrible people doing horrible things. It's the same issue I have with the God of War games. Sure, it looks cool, but I don't like these people.
While I'm on the negatives, this season really decided to ramp up the rape humor. Sometimes it actually does work, but mostly it doesn't. Steve might be an asshole, but Rod's a date rapist. And I'm not going to go into detail, but you could say it's infectious. I love this show, but that's just disgusting.
Who are you? I'm you, but stronger. Tara is the new 5th member of the team, a vending machine which turns into an assassin. The more I think about it, the more this feels like a missed opportunity. She also holds the distinction of being perhaps the only person being introduced getting the better of Steve with not a scratch to show for it. Though working with Rod is probably punishment enough. Can I just, Thank you, Tara. The one episode of this season I'll never forget follows Steve just after going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs as he sends the Fist team to retrieve a weapon called the Time Saw from the top of a mountain. Things don't work out, meaning that Steve breaks his leg and forces Womp to carry him while Rod suffers for his crimes against human decency. Now here's the thing, this was the first episode I ever saw. Could you imagine my face trying to piece this show together? It looked exactly like this. Realistic and underwhelming, isn't it? Two things you could never say about the show. When they get to the top, we meet Steve's old mentors, the Monks of the Fist, who have mastered their inner fury and have used it to reach enlightenment. He thought that was weak, so he left to beat people up, and when he attacks them to prove his point, he can't. But the cherry on top of all of this would have to be how Mephisto gets through the ordeal.
If you ever find yourself lost in the high country, your best resource is dead snowboarders.
Okay, so what? He's gonna find some supplies, maybe some food?
Come on.
There really is a lot of stuff in this show that should turn me away, but as far as I'm concerned, it's a hard show not to love. And that extends beyond what you see on screen. Meet Craig Anderson, Brian Moses, Tony Walters, and Doug Bain, the men responsible for Double the Fist. What we have here is that dumb TV show idea you brainstormed one drunken night with your friends, except they have the opportunity and the skills to make it happen. Little fun fact, Craig, Steve Fox himself, once awarded me full fist for a comment I left on his YouTube page. Which is no longer up. I did screen cap it, but Then I had to change computers and I didn't back everything up.
A passion project that didn't quite get the recognition they'd hoped for. Sometimes I see a little bit of myself while watching this. Not to mention they made it all on a shoestring budget. Guess what animation company they used for all those crazy effects? None. I wasn't kidding. It was all Doug Bain, Mephisto's actor, and if that isn't fist-worthy by definition, I don't know what is.
Oh, wait, no. Just seems to be sitting comfortably at a computer making safe, imaginary effects that pose no immediate danger to anyone. Never mind then.
Ha! Mockumentary or not, Double the Fist deserves a series free.
My pitch for episode 17? Steve gets a vision of the fist-worthy future he's created and deems it not good enough. As for me though, I've got about 6 years of loafing around on a spotted green couch to make up for. So remember, stay positive and double the fist. Well, there you have it. The world's best TV series as covered by the world's best internet series. If you're already subscribed or following me on Facebook, you'll be ready for when I release my next fist-worthy review. But if you haven't already, you're a lost cause and you make me sick! I didn't mean to yell. I'm so sorry. I would really appreciate it if you subscribed.